Hello, Internet. Sorry about being late and all that fun crap. You know how it is. Sometimes you're doing errands and then suddenly it's half the day's gone. Alright, so if you give me a little second, you can get the story going. Starcraft, the birth of a cerebrate. Bring a bango. As always, it can be found in the description down below it. This is Fanfiction Contempt Theater, in case anyone was wondering. Because I'm sure we got so many new people today who are wondering that exact question and can't read. Is my audio checking all out? Yeah, my audio appears to be checking all out. Okay.
I was gonna say everything seems to be checking out on my end. Of course, that means nothing on the Twitch end.
Meme review indeed. Alright, he's popping on in. Bada bing, bada boom. Come on. Really, Discord, you're gonna do this to me? There we go, Discord.
Buzz.
The answer is, it does seem Discord's going to do that to you. Discord
was like, hey, what if we didn't let you scroll down after selecting his name? No, Discord. Anyway. On the way go. Yeah. Okay. This is StarCraft, the rebirth of the Celebrate.
All I can see is your banner.
And now,
Oh, no,
see
yeah.
it all. An endless conflict of the three races continues. The fallen Zelnaga begins his arrival. That'll.
That's not how you use that.
That'll bring the end of all things, but unknown to him.
All things.
Oh, no. To all things. Yep. But unknown to him. But the Zelnaga? It's more like an it, honestly.
The creature long dead has unexpectedly been revived? What?
Are we still talking about the Zelnaga?
I think?
I have no idea what this is. Any of this.
This is StarCraft.
This is the plot of... This is the plot past Wings of Liberty.
I have no idea what that is.
This makes no sense. So, the fallen Zelnaga, okay, who begins the arrival to bring about the end of all things, okay, but the creature, but unknown to him, I'm guessing the Zelnaga.
I would say that would seem to be the reasonable guess based on context at the moment.
The creature long dead has unexpectedly been revived.
I have no idea what that creature is. This like a crossover? Is this
I think the author's implying that for some reason the Cerebrates suddenly were resurrected.
I have no idea what any of that is either.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Cerebrate because he returns to gather the Zerg brood and prepares to assimilate any who foolishly stand in his way. But when he news of the Dark One return, he will stop him at all costs. So
Does it have anything to do with Jesus Christ?
Okay, so there's like, so it was like an overarching omnipotent narrator at the start, and then for some reason the author suddenly switched to like a over-the-shoulder perspective narration, like halfway through the summary.
Boy, I bet that'll annoy Faye.
And Faye ain't here.
No.
No. Nobody loves us.
There's a couple people here. Shandom's here.
Is that
anyway?
No, no one's saying anything. Okay, they're all just being silent willy-nillys. Yes.
So, the quick rundown is, the Zerg had someone who was in charge of them, the Cerebrate. He ran the entire hive mind. He died at the end of StarCraft 1.
The Overmind.
He died.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate for him.
Even though that was actually all part of Kekaku.
Because his Kekaku was find Kerrigan, make Kerrigan sexy Zerg lady, win.
Yeah, I wish we were kidding about that. Anyway, so, prologue. Giant fuck off wall of text. The Cerebrit reborn! Exclamation point. The Cerebrit revived. Somewhere in this
Why
planet.
do we have something that redundant?
Because the author is redundant. Somewhere in this planet that has oceans of fire, physically impossible, tectonic storms. Oh, like, I'm not a geologist. And Kilm, put some fucking headphones on.
Anyway.
My volume is at 4.
Yeah, and I'm echoing out of your speakers.
Should be impossible for you to hear me because I can't hear you.
Well, you know how impossible it is.
Listen, he has the ears of an angry, angry man. His ears hear what they want to hear and only that.
Anyway, as I was saying, tectonic storms and an atmosphere that can burn a person alive. The main planet of the Zerg swarm.
Wait, Sneaky. Tectonic.
Yes, tectonic storms. Apparently, the tectonic plates just randomly up and start spinning and spitting lightning or something. I don't know, man.
Wouldn't that be the death of the fucking Earth?
You would think that, but in this author's fantasy land, it's a-okay.
Look, clearly all it is, Sneaky, is there's a couple of High Templar down there, and they figured out the next level of psionic storm, tectonic storm. That's all it is.
Quite, of course. They figured out how to use Earthquake.
It's the perfect move for them, since they're immune to it.
Indeed. Inside this cavern lies a long-dead creature that looked like a serpent, but had centipede legs, cobra hood, and razor-sharp teeth.
Do we ever see the Cerebrit?
Yeah, we do! They look like giant frickin' maggots attached to the ground.
Right.
Like it was like a process to move them. Its corpse decaying, when suddenly a voice calls out, Cerebrit, Cerebrit, Cerebrit. Ah, see, I understand this resurrection method. See, all you must do is you must yell at the body, their designation of species, and if you do that 3 times, the species resurrects.
Excuse me, it works in anime. Just scream the protagonist's name a bunch, and he'll fight his way back from death. Because something, the power of friendship.
My nakama!
Yeah, more or less, actually.
My nakama!
So listen, if it's not Zagara resurrecting him, I'll be disappointed.
And now I get it why you can hear yourself sneaky. It's because with your volume set at 10, you're still loud, while with Atin's volume set at 200, he's still barely audible.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Atin, get a better mic.
Don't, you'll trigger him.
Fuck you, I have a job now, it's on the list.
The job or the mic?
The mic, you muppet.
Knowing you, it could be either.
I said I have a job.
That is quite hard to believe. What do you do?
This is not something I'm talking about on stream.
Well, is it prostitution?
Yes, it's prostitution. Now let's move the fuck on. The Cerebrit spirit slowly opened its eyes. Then its sleepy eyes widened. You know, see, I just had Chrysanthemum go through the beginning parts of the next chapter for the fanfiction I'm writing.
Okay.
And she made 80 something changes to it.
Yeah.
And they're all intelligent changes, and one of them was a rule I just completely forgot about. And it's how I handle commas.
Alright.
And she made all the changes, and I was looking through them. I was like, man, I suck at English. And now I'm here, and now I'm looking at this, and I'm going, wow.
Sneaky, a lot of phase changes might also be because of her style. You know that, right? Over here, it's just a lack of.
I am aware, but I did read through the changes she suggested, and they were like, oh, yeah, that does make more sense.
No, I'm not doubting her changes. I'm just saying that at that point, you can kind of understand that, okay, I have a different style from her, but this guy is just sheer incompetence.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, though I didn't accept every single change. I rejected a few of them, but no, she did pretty much bring up good points for every single change she suggested. What's new?
Deal with it later. On with the show.
No, what? This was an important part of the show. Look, see.
Yeah, I know it was, but this part isn't.
Yeah,
Make your point and move on.
My point is that I thought I was bad at English, and then here comes along this guy who has no concept of sentence structure.
Sneaky, and then they're the Nugan twins as well. Indeed. Don't worry about it. There's always worse.
Overmind! In front of it was the Overmind, the former leader of the Swarm.
Really? And here I thought it was gonna be James Raynor.
What?
Because it just said Overmind. In front of it was the Overmind. Who else is gonna be in front of it?
That is actually I would read a book with that premise.
What, James Raynor is the Overmind?
No, James Raynor is trying various things before the Wings of Liberty succeeds, and at one point they end up resurrecting a Cerebit to see if they can take the control of the Zerg Swarm away from Kerrigan.
Listen, knowing how much he wanted to get Kerrigan back, he probably tried it. And Matt Horner was like, this is a terrible idea. And Jim was like, nah, it's a great idea. It'll work great.
Anyway.
Spoiler, it did not work great.
In front of it was the blah blah blah, Overmind, former leader Swarm, blah blah blah, brain-like entity, tentacles, and an eyeball. I do not understand. Why am I not being reincarnated? What?
Is there a point why this person does this person really like the letter S, or is he trying to write a Slytherin type character?
They're trying to write a Slytherin type character.
Oh god.
No. Is it the end? What? I say. What the fuck?
I say.
Are you okay?
What the fuck am I reading? It's a character from the good old days of Disney, Warner Brothers animation. By the way, I wrote 3 new pages for my book I wanted to write, so yeah, it's working again. I can now write. Oh, congratulations!
Good for you.
Celibate, the former leader of the Sworn. Quite so, Lord, quite so. No, my Cerebrate, you can't yet. Wait, no, my Cerebrate, yet you cannot reincarnate because you were wounded by the energies that would cause me harm.
This is actually causing me pain right now.
I'm fairly certain
don't understand what's happening.
I'm fairly certain the reason...
See, at least you guys know the fandom. I don't even have any context to go with.
I'm fairly certain the reason why the Dark Templar energy caused them to not respond was the whole dealy with they're cutting you off from the psychic connection because that's how the Dark Templar energies work, by isolating people, and that's how you can use the Dark Templar energy, etc., etc., etc. Not because it prevented your reincarnation, but because it literally severed your connection to the swarm.
Nice.
Or damaged the Overmind. But yeah, that wasn't plot points I remember from the story.
I was just saying, it's been a while, and I'm not willing to plunk down the money to play StarCraft Remastered.
I mean, I got it for free, so.
How'd you get it for free? What the fuck? Doesn't matter. Move on.
Dark Templar are a special type of Templar, which is a special type of
They were Templar
unit.
that were like, listen, I need to be able to think that that chick has a nice rack without her knowing I think she has a nice rack.
Yeah, blah blah blah, just alt race, blah 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 rebels, blah blah blah. They found the new energy source to blah 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 be edgy and dark with, and also they can turn invisible. Anyway, blah 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 blah, blah blah blah. So your silence is broken. How are you speaking to me now? The Protoss of Ire believe I died, but nope. Kerrigan, so she survived. There was a greater threat. Blah blah blah. So I rise again. Yes, Cerebit, you will rise again. You must watch over Kerrigan until she can win the game for us. Blah blah blah. Walls of text that are completely over descriptive, something we don't need to know about. Blah 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 blah. Fucking boring shit. Blah blah blah. I will exterminate and assimilate.
I want to point out, there's just a random jump to James Raynor. Like,
oh, and apparently we're also using color-coded Marines. Blah blah blah. Cerebit continues looking. Blah blah blah. 3 male Terrans in heavy marine suit, in heavy red marine suits. And you can't say Confederacy? Because you're not intelligent. I apologize. You're not intelligent enough to know why
Confederate is a hard word to spell, okay? C-O-N, C's the means of production. I don't know what else.
Sign das Stratino.
You might as well play it, it's not copyrighted.
Anyway, we're not playing Soviet Anthem on this stream. Again.
You could play the Smash Mouth version of it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Definitely not doing that either. Moving on.
Oh my god, are you fucking kidding me?
God damn it, Atin, you really don't like
When the
parody.
dust clears, it reveals 5 male Terrans in heavy blue suits, 2 female Terrans in white medical suit, and 1 male Terran in black marine suit with skull on face shield, has skeletal snake on left shoulder. The 4 red suit Terrans run towards the 8 Terrans. This area
I wonder which one's going to be plot in...
Huh?
I wonder which one's going to be important to the plot.
None of them. This area is strictly off limits because there's no plot. Exclaims Red Terran Marine as he inspects male Terran in black suit, his eyes widen. Raynor? Halt? You're under arrest!
Okay, now hold on a minute. These are these are Confederate Marines.
Yeah.
Someday they may be lucky enough to be Dominion Marines. Regardless of who they work for, both organizations have a shoot first, ask questions later policy.
Actually, it's more like shoot first, ask questions never, maybe eventually come back to it a couple years down the line when something else is there but you can't shoot it.
Okay.
And make a movie
Yes,
about it.
that's more accurate.
Anyway, not today, buddy! Bam, 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 bam! Raynor shoots all the red Terrans, as well as the 5 blue Terrans that came with him.
Huh?
He's making that part up.
No, I'm not.
He's not.
Wow.
Wow.
They really don't understand how the English language works.
It would seem that I'm not the only one investigating the lab, he reply. To what question?
To himself.
No matter, nothing shall stand in my way for long. Because apparently the Cerebrit's now a Ultralisk. But
Also
smaller.
a ghost.
Yes. Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, Raynor and his escort. Didn't he shoot his escort?
According to the sentence we just read, yes. Well, no, Sneaky. I guess he still has the medics, and for some reason, Matt Horner, except Horner never leaves the Hyperion because he's a ship captain, not a Marine.
Nice.
No, literally, he doesn't even have a suit of armor. He's just a dude in a fancy coat.
You see, Calvin, I refuse to call these abominations Terrans, so they are Terrans.
Nice.
Anyway, blah 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 blah. Meanwhile, Raynor and his escort hacked their way through the Dominion security, which in result uses... Wait, the Dominion security... So this is a Dominion facility guarded by the Confederacy being invaded by the Dominion?
I think they're retarded, Sneaky.
In case anyone doesn't understand why we're getting so aggravated over the suit colors, each faction in StarCraft has a canonical suit color. It was Uma Joans were white.
No, weren't they? I thought they were purple.
Well, they're no. UED was purple.
Yeah, you're right. The Uma Jones were white. The UED was purple.
And
the Terran Confederacy was red.
Yeah.
When the Confederacy was replaced by the Dominion, they kept the red suits. So it's incredibly important that you properly differentiate with text.
But they
who's
did
wearing
also
the red suits.
They also did have blue suits from then on out as well. And then Raynor's Raiders also had red and blue suits. Eventually switching to all blue. Maybe it was because the blue suits were better, or just reasons, or we don't really know and we don't really care.
I mean, the red suits might be Gen 1 and the blue suits might be Gen 2. Anyway.
But yeah, anyway. Blah 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 blah. Disfigured creature. Raynor and his escorts didn't know that. The Cerebrate eavesdropped them. These creatures, they ain't like any Zergs. Matt scanned their biosignatures. Alright. Yeah, the signal's weak there. He scans the creatures. Oh my god, they're Zerg and Proteus. The hybrid.
Okay, so they can't be... This literally cannot be Dominion Marines.
Yeah.
Because this is the plot of StarCraft 2.
Yeah. You mean Confederate, but yeah.
Or Confederate, yeah. They have to be... I'm sorry, they have to be Dominion Marines is what I meant.
What's a Zerg? Alright, imagine the common cold, except it's everything from the size of a dog to the size of an elephant. It can travel through space, and it eats everything.
You may also apply this explanation to the Warhammer 40,000 Tyranids.
Yes.
And if you think, boy, they sound awful similar, so did a lot of court cases.
You're the soul.
I mean, weren't they actually making StarCraft 4? Like
StarCraft 4. Nice.
No, weren't they actually 4? Not 4, you fucking piece of shit. Weren't they actually making it like as a game for Warhammer?
Yes, the origins of StarCraft is Blizzard was originally had the rights to a Warhammer game RTS, and something happened and they ended up pulling it, and then Blizzard was like, well shit, we basically already have this game made.
I was going to say, the important thing to point out is that the license was pulled, like, when development was done. Like,
Yeah.
the engine was built. The game was built. The only thing they didn't have was a story.
Yep.
Yeah, and so
Because this is back in the good old days when you built the game and then a story.
That's still kind of the thing even now.
yeah, you would think, right? Anyway,
Anyway,
the hybrid! How could the Terrans possess such magnitude?
wait, why does the Cerebrit already know about hybrids?
Because we can assume the
Because fuck you,
Overmind
I
told
don't know.
him. Because fuck you.
But the Overmind didn't know about them.
Yes, but you see, but fuck you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, blah blah blah, Dominion Lab, blah blah blah. We got that Raynor guy trapped in Lab 1. Nice job, everyone, release the Zarg! The Cerebrate hears the Red Marine saying, Zerg, my brethren, here? Blah blah blah, holding pen, bridges door, blah blah blah, human scientists with 3 blades on each arm. Holding a shield. The Cerebrate parasites, all through the day they use the Zerg as experiments. He floats towards the 3rd room where many Dominion guards are located with...
Shouldn't one of the ghosts been like, yo, we got some funky psionic nonsense going on here, boys?
Yeah.
Or like,
you
any
would
of the
think.
security systems that can detect psionics?
You would think that. But we can't have that sort of thing here until he has the dramatic reveal. I must find the hybrid that is complete, and once I find it, he laughs sinisterly. Also, I'm really confused as to why Amon and the Cerebrits have genders suddenly. And
I
the
mean,
Overmind?
Amon referred to himself as a he, didn't he?
No, I. There's lots of eyes. I mean, what's his face might have referred to Amon as a he, but I'm pretty sure he also only ever referred to Amon as Amon. Or my master.
Amon, gender, male. Straight from the wiki.
Okay, excellent, okay. Still doesn't make the Cerebrits male.
No, you're correct about that, but Amon was a he.
Okay.
Is a he. Whatever.
Don't Cerebrits have genders? No. They are non-reproducing... technically speaking, nothing in the Zerg Swarm has a gender or a sex.
Queens. Queens are referred to as she's.
Queens are referred to as she's due to characters.
But they are the only ones.
Yeah. But that was specifically a human creation in the Swarm. So, yeah. And we anthropomorphize the Zerg. But yeah, no, they don't reproduce. They don't have a gender designation. They were more or less brains in a jar that controlled the Swarm for a giant eyeball.
That controlled the brains in a jar.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And to be honest, the giant eyeball did a pretty poor job too.
You anthropomorphize a cold flu? Who does that?
Humans.
Humans. Blah 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 blah, more stupid shit, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. The Cerebrits glide through the stasis field. I'm gonna possess this creature. What? And once he got closer to it, he opened his jaw and force-feed the hybrid.
What?
What? Then he began to assimilate, but surprisingly nothing happens. Come on, work, damn you! What is he, fucking Russian? Nothing happens.
Suddenly he's become a human tech support.
Yeah. Work! Still, nothing happens. Why won't you work? Also, apparently they ate 5.
Yep.
He notices the stasis field and then gasps. Of course, I can't assimilate this creature as long as it's in the assimilation stasis field.
I don't see why he couldn't assimilate. I mean, I can see why he couldn't move it, but I don't see why he couldn't assimilate it.
Because fuck you. We need to extend the story somehow.
Also, the hyper intelligent being built to lead a literal swarm of creatures.
Yeah.
Didn't notice the field that the no field.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Mm-hmm. Because after all, we can't have intelligence here. After eliminating the blah 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 containment field weakening, blah blah blah, oh my god, it's gonna get out, we're all gonna die! The creature awakens and roars furiously. The cerebrate grins inside. At last, my assimilation begins. Pauses for the moment, who then laughs sinisterly. Jesus Christ. Here it is, my first StarCraft fanfiction. I know all cerebrates
Please let it be your last!
die before the sequel to StarCraft, but I made the idea that one cerebrate is revived. Hey guys, I know there was a good, canonical, and extremely important reason as to why all the cerebrates die before the sequel to StarCraft. But my idea is, what if we ignored all of canon? So original, much, wow.
For a bad reason too. Let's be clear.
Yeah. Anyway, as far as I do need this question answered now. I'll move this over to covered fix, and I need this question answered now.
What question is that?
Does Fluchon exist?
Please don't.
As far as we know... Oh, is this it? Fluchon? Aid-sama, Medicine-chan versus Ebola-chan.
Just stop here, please.
Yeah, as far as I can see, there is no Fluchon yet.
And you know what? That's probably a good thing. Let's move on.
Yes. Oh, nope, here we go, Fluchon.
God damn it.
I have never been so disappointed with mankind.
Let's see what we got here. Let's go with this. You guys don't know too much about Ranma, do you?
I do not.
Same. But you did tell me a certain amount at least.
All right. Well, let's see how much we can get through this. If not, we'll just move on. Because I know a lot about Ranma, but
Well, so here's the thing: we can always snipe at the absolute nonsense that comes up anyway, like spelling and grammar errors.
Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Sounds legit. At least around here.
Those are always there.
Harry Potter and Ranma crossover. Potter, the Stone.
Football.
Harry is the student of one of the best martial artists. Oh yeah, I listed. Okay. In the world, Ranma Satome. Draco Malfoy is about to learn why it's not a good idea to piss off a student of Anything Goes.
What's Anything Goes?
Anything Goes is the name of the fighting style that the main character uses in Ranma.
It's actually called Anything Goes.
Well, there's two ways to refer to it. It's the art of indiscriminate grappling or anything goes, depending on the translation.
I think the art of indiscriminate grappling sounds cooler. Much like the school of the undefeated of the East sounds way cooler.
Dude.
Okay. I'd prefer anything goes.
Blah blah blah. I had this idea after reading a Run My Harry Potter fic that stopped and never went anywhere. It was super irritating, so now I'm gonna do that myself. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that part.
Chapter 1823. What?
Excuse me?
Chapter 1 through 17. Everything checks out. 18. Chapter 1823.
I guess 18 through 23?
18.23, just go to it. I want to see what the fuck's on it.
Oh yeah, here you go, the final 5 chapters.
So why is it 23?
Because it's
18
chapters
through 23.
18
No, but
through
shouldn't you have a
23.
dash instead of a dot?
There is
Just
no
think about
dot.
it from 18 to 20.
No, yeah, that's what threw me off. There wasn't a dot or a dash or anything. It's just 18 space 23.
There's just a space. I thought it was a dot.
No, there's nothing.
1823. Well done.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be
Like,
amazing.
if it had been a dash, we'd have understood that.
Or there'd be a dot.
But there's
you
nothing.
Decimal.
Chestnuts roasting over the open fist.
I'm not sure how you're roasting chestnuts on your fist, but seek medical attention?
That's actually how Ranma got a method of punching really fast. And
Not by using chestnut.
yeah, the premise of that training was that they put chestnuts into a open fire, and he has to punch so fast that he grabs the chestnut out of the fire without burning himself.
But wouldn't the chestnut burn it then?
Well, I mean,
Let the shonen manga be shonen.
well, no, in theory, they could drop the chestnut into the fire and then it's grab it out without burning yourself. Like, you could do that.
How was it shown? Did they just kind of drop it and he had to pick it out before it actually burnt into a crisp?
All
was it in there?
all
Were they
I
just
remember
burning
is
it?
at one point they did in fact show him punching his fist into the fire to grab the chestnut out of the center of it.
Alright. I think there's something similar in some martial art where like people punch a bowl of embers.
Yeah, guys, it's Ranma. Logic isn't supposed to be applied. Like I said, let the shonen be shonen. Harry Potter's life was rather strange. He seemed to have a kind of good luck, bad luck thing going on. Even he was sometimes caught by surprise when something odd happened to him. At 11 years old, he would have sworn that the universe was conspiring to make his life interesting. It was bad enough that his parents were dead, or that his abusive aunt and uncle were even allowed to spend a year abusing him as a baby. Ah, yes, abusing him as a baby. All those memories of when we were babies, right?
Is this Naruto?
Is this loss?
It is lost. Everything is lost.
Or that he seemed to meet the most interesting of people. People in black cloaks wearing masks. Oh, he met Death Eaters, eh? Okay. Or memories of a flying motorcycle. Ah, okay, I see, interesting. Like today, it wasn't that he was trying to look for trouble. It just found him, really. That was all that there was to it. He was minding his own business out on the playground, one word, when that jerk, Stevenson, came up and just took a swing at him. For absolutely
Listen, his last
no
name is
reason.
Stevenson, Harry. He's got enough problems. Just let him take a swing at you. I'm not saying you have to take it. I'm saying just let him get his aggression out.
For absolutely no reason. Really?
I mean, it could be worse. He could have a last name like, let's say, I don't know, Winchester or something.
Or, like Mahamuda.
Or sand, because sand is coarse and rough and irritating. It gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere.
He wasn't about to just stand there and let it happen. After all, he had to protect himself from jerks like this. Anyways, it was fun. That's why he rolled back and flipped out of the swing, hopped back, and brought his hands up.
Wait, he rolled back, flipped out of a swing, then hopped back again and brought his hand up.
Because
First of all, I want to see what size his stamina bar is, because that's some acrobatics. Second of all, good luck hitting him.
Boom. B. My problem is that this is an 11-year-old doing it.
He's 11. Okay, there was 4. Although wasn't Harry not really a very athletic child?
Yes, although to be fair, that could be ascribed to malnutrition.
Also, I would like to point out that Harry Potter at age 11 should already be in Hogwarts.
Yes, that is true.
You rolled out A, it's a Dark Souls crossover. Is this the Dark Souls of Harry Potter fanfiction?
Please kill yourself. I'm requesting you at this point.
Blah 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 blah. What's up, moron? Potter! I'm gonna kill you! The older boy yelled as he swept the swing aside and jumped at him. Die!
What swing?
The swing that Harry rolled out of.
Oh, the swing, not like swinging a punch or something. Like
No. Smirking, Harry hopped into the air, went right over Boy's back. Harry laughed.
Oh crap, we're playing Halo 3, he's about to get ninja.
Indeed. Harry laughed as he landed, spun around, and stabbed the boy in the back, eviscerating him through his spine.
Is this actually...
somehow I don't think that's what was written there. Just looking at the
Stevenson is Ryoga. Yeah, pretty much. And swept the boy's legs out from underneath him. Stevenson crashed into the ground with a cry and landed hard enough to knock the breath out of his lungs. What was that? It was something about gasping for air, Harry taunted. "I'll gasp, gasp, you, Potter," the boy said, gasping for air. Did you know he's gasping for air?
No.
You don't stand a chance, Stevenson. Huh?
I have the high ground.
Yes. Harry said, stepping out of the way of a weak punch. "You're so slow. I have the high ground here, Stevenson."
But my
Bastard! I'll get you!
Oh wait, you underestimate my power. That's the one.
I'm sorry, is this an 11-year-old who knows the word bastard?
No, this is a 13-year-old.
I think the author is an 11-year-old.
Yeah, I think the author is 11. "Not anytime soon, slowpoke," Harry said, bounced back, did spin
Okay,
kick.
wait, sneaky. Is this person writing a fake about Harry Potter or Sonic the Hedgehog? Because I'm not sure.
Well, you see, the author is writing a fic about what if Ranma had trained Harry Potter, even though there was at no point in Harry Potter's life where he could go off for several years straight to gain the same amount of training that Ranma had obtained.
Sneaky. Ranma just put him in the hyperbolic time chamber. Duh.
Of course. Anyway. The author is severely suffering from way too many actions in a single sentence. Harry said, bounced back. Huh?
I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that you could do this with every Harry Potter fic. You would literally have him just go with any character from any fucking anime in which there's a training sequence of any kind, and be like, "Oh, this is my Harry Potter, but now he's a boxer, now he's a basketballer, now he's a child molester."
Hold on, what was that last one?
Naruto?
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong.
It's the basketball. Get that shit out of here.
I know.
Exactly. See, what we should do is we should have Harry Potter become an expert ballroom dancer. It won't help him at all in the magical world, but he'll school them all on the dance floor.
Indeed.
Yes. Harry Potter training under John Arc.
I just want to see Harry Potter and Parappa the Rapper.
I want Harry Potter to get shot in the head.
Anyway, did spin kick? God, the fucking tenses are everywhere. Jesus Christ! Like, so there's a reason. So my technical writing teacher rightfully pointed this out. That before you ever submit anything, and before you do anything like of that sort, or you send it off to a beta or something, read it out loud. If it sounds odd when reading it out loud, it probably needs to be fixed in your writing. I mean, it doesn't always translate 100% of the time when it's, you know, reading it out loud versus just reading it normally. You know, because sometimes, you know, you say things differently than how a narrative would be introduced. It's usually pretty good at figuring out when you need to pause and stuff in a sentence. And when you need to use proper tenses. Harry said, bounced back, did spin kick, and sat his foot on top of boy head. Author?
Author, you need to calm down.
Author has had a author.ext has stopped responding.
Indeed. Harry Potter, dude, that was a great story. Harry Potter Sailor Moon Cross. Oh shit, The Girl Who Lived, 100%, 10 out of 10 recommend.
I don't care about either of these fandoms.
Sorry, The Girl Who Loved, not Girl Who Lived.
That sounds easy.
I was gonna say, I mean, alright, maybe I'll check it out, because I think Sailor Moon's because, like, here's the thing, Sailor Moon, like, despite being old, is actually still cool.
It was written by the same guy who did Little Vila That Could.
Never read that either.
Also a good
Now,
one.
see, the crossover that actually needs to happen is Harry Potter and My Little Witch Academia.
See, what needs to happen is Harry Potter and Hajime no Ippo.
See,
But Harry Potter learned how to use boxing
you
to
think
fight Voldemort.
that
I mean, have you seen Voldemort? Give him one nice fucking hook to the face and he's dead. So, fucking Harry Potter and the Navy SEALs crossover. He learns how to use guns.
Harry Potter and the Navy SEAls.
Ron, you got no idea how good these are. Fuck wands.
That was actually something
The
that J.K. Rowling
entire
did say.
story is just the, what did you say about me, you little punk? I'll have you know I'm in that branch of the military.
Indeed. Let's see. Where was it? Harry Potter and the Stone.
Harry Potter and the Stone Penis.
Oh, God damn it! It's not trying to show up here. All right. Anyway, point being, let's keep going. Alright. Blah blah blah. What's going on? Hello, Miss Sopel. Don't talk that tone with me. I saw what you did. Detention. He started it. Do you want me to call your father? As if he really wanted to see if she could contact a dead man, but thought better of it. No, ma'am. You're gonna get going now, Potter. He attacked me first. Give him detention too. Yeah, but you also kicked the shit out of him doing acrobatics. That is actually illegal. That is actually illegal.
What? Doing acrobatics.
No, having a certain level of skill above the person you are fighting actually makes it illegal to fight them.
Well, no, it's not having a certain level of skill. It's using it in a cruel manner.
No, it's not though. So, I had a friend who did MMA.
See, in boxing, I know, like, our hands can be treated as weapons of murder.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, my friend did MMA, and he was telling me about this one time about how this guy, who did not have a weapon, was, making threats towards him, and was, like, give me your money and shit like that, without a weapon. And he was like, I could not touch him, because if I did touch him, it would be considered an excessive use of force due to me being trained in various MMA styles and him not. Like, he would actually be the one who ended up arrested in that sort of situation. Due to...
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous, but, like, Britain's even worse about it. Is shampoo a tsundere?
Huh?
Not really. No. Not at all, really. She's more obsessive dere.
Excuse me?
I mean, if anything, it would be like yandere, but she's not like full yan. She is of the opinion that she should kill all the other potential wives to become the only wife for Ranma, but she's not like, I'm gonna kill every girl that looks at him weird. She's only like, I'm gonna kill every girl who has a marriage contract with him, so then I will be the only one with a marriage contract with him.
Didn't Ranma's entire thing, like the entire plot revolve around child slavery of sorts?
What's the point of being trained in MMA? Well, the point of being trained in MMA is so you can fight in the MMA
And make money.
Also, it's really fun. It's like going to the gym, really, but
When you say, similarly, why do people get trained in boxing? Because, like, you can't actually use boxing in real life.
Okay.
By which I mean, you'll get in trouble if you use it in real life.
Okay, yeah.
It's completely applicable in real life, just you'll get in trouble if you do.
But anyway, let us continue. Blah blah blah. Start writing the lines. I will not pick fights. Blah blah blah. That was actually a thing, so I'm not gonna say anything about this.
But so then, Sneaky, based on that, here's my question. Let's say someone, let's say someone gets to, I don't know, what's the decent belt level in karate? I don't know karate's belt level. Like, obviously I know black belt, but
the sport karate is significantly different from actual martial art.
Right, but I'm just saying, like the ones that are like, oh, we're a self-defense class. Like, let's say someone gets to black belt going through that kind of dojo.
Right.
Is it still illegal for them to defend themselves?
No. The point of difference there is that the style they're supposedly learned is supposed to be for self-defense, while MMA is how to drop the
MMA,
person.
boxing, etc. Right, okay.
Yeah, and how to drop the person in front of you as quick as possible.
Right.
Which is very much different.
In MMA?
MMA, boxing, etc.
Yeah, the guy in front of you has got to just drop you as fast as you fucking can. That's it.
Yeah.
In boxing, on the other hand, it's a bit more complex, but yeah.
Yeah.
The end goal is still put the other guy on the floor before he puts you on the floor.
Yeah.
Not in boxing.
Really?
No, I've had so in boxing, there's so many people who literally win their fights by points. Actually, people go like, oh yeah, KOs win most fights. No, they don't. At least not in most.
It's something that's been perpetuated by Hollywood.
True.
But yeah, he does bring up a good point. They it's, I guess you could say boxing is sort of like the hand-to-hand fighting, fencing, in that they go to a certain point, they're like, all right, stop, let's reset, and they award each
kind
side
of, because
points.
like if you clinch with the other person, you get a reset. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why boxers have so many permanent head wounds comparatively to MMA fighters.
Yep. We get shot on the regular.
Yep. Anyway. Good. This was the 5th school he'd been into 6 years. Blah blah blah. Remembered his adoptive father telling him to live up to his responsibilities, even though it was unjust. He started to write, blah blah blah. 6 years and 5 schools. He never had a chance to make friends. It was always training, school, training, homework, more training than bed. He really needed a break from all the morons attacking him. Even his cousin Dudley wouldn't get near him these days, not after Harry broke the bullying Git's arm and punched him a few dozen times. That, of course, got him kicked out of that school. Not that that mattered that much. The jerk deserved it. Oh, yes, of course. The breaking of arms, always deserved. Blah, blah, blah. School day without fighting, but he couldn't stand it there, letting people insult him like that. Oh, he insulted me. Clearly, I need to break you.
I was going to say, now, I've only seen a few episodes of Ron, but correct me if I'm wrong, he was never like that.
No, he was not. In fact, Ranma actually had very specific morals in which that he would never fight someone who wasn't trained in martial arts. Because he was like, justifiably, I would kick the shit out of them. Also, I can hear myself again from Tim's mic.
And now?
Yeah, no, not anymore. Ranma was very cocky, but he also had a very strong codex. Yeah, he had very rigid stipulations on what he would and wouldn't do. And he did not break them through the entire series, basically. Anyway, Harry, you need to stop fighting. He can get you expelled. I only fight when someone attacks me. I don't care why you do it. You need to stop or you'll be thrown out of school. We don't tolerate fighting here. Again, I realize this might be a hard concept for a young child to understand. But if this child has been kicked out of 6 schools now, you would hope that someone in his life would eventually sit him down and be like, look, you have to stop sending everyone who tries to take a swing at you to the hospital. You can't be the one to escalate force used. Because, like, we see this kid take a slow swing that's apparently easily dodgeable at Harry. And Harry's like, ah, I see. He can't hit me at all, and his punches are pretty weak. Oh, let me just flip, jump, drop kick him in the back of the head and then stamp on it. That is not an equal amount of force used. Even fucking close. You know, at that point, it's the failing of the author / the characters. If certain forms of common sense intelligence are not being transmitted. You know, it's one thing if he never got kicked out of school. And so at no point in time was anyone like, oh yeah, we should probably explain to Harry why he needs to stop sending people to the hospital.
But this isn't even like school 1 or 2. This is school 6.
Yeah, this is school 6.
Not to mention, he's been trained by Ranma. Based on the moral codex you've established for Ranma, he would not tolerate his student being a piece of shit like this.
Oh, no, he would not.
Like, he would show up, beat the hell out of Harry, and say, what the hell is your problem?
Yeah, actually. Alright, blah blah blah, you can head home, blah 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 blah, running, blah blah blah. He would jump on fences and run over cars. Fucking piece of shit. Blah blah blah, he had to be careful. His father hadn't trained him to a level where he could do anything yet. No matter how good he was at fighting. Harry, you were literally beating... Harry, you are beating up the equivalent of old women. You cannot say you're good at fighting. Blah blah blah, covered in sweat, blah blah blah, at London, blah blah blah, he built that wall when he was 7. His adoptive father called it strength training, never got the strength part, he was just sore. So Harry's a retard in this, apparently. Why is building a wall good strength training? It just made my muscles sore and me more able to lift higher weight.
What?
Harry's complaining that all the after effects of building a wall when he was 7 years old doesn't constitute strength training. Harry is more like, I'm not even trying to pronounce that name, a teacher who is all childlike but can suck energy and turn into a hot teacher. I don't know why Harry sounds like them. He was building a wall and his neighbors had to pay for it. I mean, that's not what happened here.
Anyway.
To this day, funny story about that, Calvin, you could actually sue, under very specific circumstances, you can in fact sue your neighbors and legally force them to build a wall separating your properties and make them pay for it in America.
Those are highly specific conditions.
But
yes,
they are possible. Because I have seen it happen once.
Oh, I've seen it happen too, and it's hilarious when it does. And here's the thing. The way it's set up in the United States is, it is only possible to do that if your neighbors are just the absolute worst people.
They don't send their best, you could say.
Like, I knew one person, it was because their neighbors, there were public nudity laws in that you could be naked in the back of your home, like on your property, you could be naked.
Yeah.
But you did also still have to, try to be reasonable about it. And there was a family with young children, and this was an 80-year-old like swinger couple.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Look, just stop please, all you old people, stop being naked outside around the 5-year-olds. Can you do that?" And they couldn't do that, and so they sued to have a fence built.
Yeah.
And they won because the judge was like,
This is, yeah.
Like, the judge is just... Obviously, I was there. But reportedly, the judge was just like, I don't even... Why am I...
Why is this a thing?
Why am I having to deal with this in my court?
Yeah, anyway, blah, blah, blah. Someone jumped at him with throwing red balls, blah, blah, blah. Dodging the water balloons. Ranma... landed, but gotta move better than that. Expletive you, Harry said, because, of course we have to include cursing in this, but we can't actually curse. It's not like the author is under any obligation to censor themselves or include said curse words in the story. But, yeah. Fucking piece of shit people fucking like, oh, but the characters are really angry, they have to curse. Well then make them fucking curse, you piece of shit.
Nice.
Hey, bye Calvin. Yeah, you were liveling it up, and we're gonna miss you. Because apparently Isley isn't here today.
Man? What the frick?
It all relies on you, Chrysanthemum. You're the only one left that will keep this track going.
Rest in peace, Chrysanthemum.
Anyway, water exploded all around him. He was being physically attacked. Blah blah blah. They're dodging around the yard. Blah blah blah. Fist punching him. Ron was smirked. That was pathetic. I have seen you do a lot better. Well, father, I just ran 5 straight miles and had to fight you. What do you expect? I expected you to fight back as I taught you. In a real battle, if you let your guard down like that, you would be dead. This is quite a different Ranma.
I was gonna say this doesn't seem like the Ranma that's been described. Even let's say the description of Ranma you gave me was horribly inept, not Ranma at all. Although I don't think it actually was. This Ranma still sounds nothing like that Ranma.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe you can go with how, so Ranma's changed over the years. It's like, okay, maybe explain what. It's this thing specifically with fanfiction. You sort of need, I personally believe, You need to explain why the characters are acting drastically different within a couple paragraphs of announcing them, at worst. You know, like, if you're gonna be introducing a character from, you know, Country B, but in canon, Country B was at war with Country A, and in the year 76, they got invaded by Country C, but in canon, they repelled the invaders. Okay.
Nice.
But in this fanon, the person from Country B was actually, they failed to repel the invaders of Country C. And so that's why they're so drastically different, because they watched their comrades die, or blah blah blah. Okay. And I kind of want to know that. If the character is a character we're supposed to know and or possibly be the reason why we're reading this story, then maybe we would want to know why they're so different from their canonical interpretations. Because that's sort of an important reason for the suspension of disbelief in a story. But that's just me. Don't take my word for it. Anyway, blah 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 blah. I run to school and back. No. We can continue. I think you want to run. You look like you want to run. What to do? We fight. Okay, we fight then. And you will fight back with everything you got. Blah blah blah. Much better. Blah 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 blah. Blah blah blah. The house was 2 stories. A 2.5-story house designed to fit 10 people. In a 2.5-story house? That's a pretty wide house.
10 people in a 2.5-story house. Holy crap.
Sounds like India to me.
Okay, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a college dorm.
Yeah. It was a light brown with white trim and a perfectly manicured lawn. Off to the side in London? Off to the side was a large wooden deck that was used to practice their martial art forms. Several training
Does this person not know how expensive land is in London?
Apparently not. No.
I was gonna say, look, I've never been to London, but let me think.
Right.
But let me assume that it's roughly similar to Chicago.
Well,
in
no,
terms of
no.
density.
A better way to do it would be like trying to buy a house with land in it, in Washington D.C.
Okay, to put this into perspective,
Yeah.
the people I live with there are rich, like by like most people's areas, and they live in a 3-room flat.
Yeah.
They couldn't get anything more.
London's expensive. Anyway.
Very.
Bird flew in with a letter from Mr. H. Potter, front room, the Hidden House, London. Hidden House, Picked up the letter and frowned. Wasn't every day a person received mail by owl. Blah 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 envelope. Blah 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 Harry finished training. Blah 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 you're only 11. Give it a few more years. No matter, this is for you. You opened my mail, of course. Blah blah blah. An owl dropped it off. Of course. I expect you to believe me. I'm your father. You adopted me. Technicalities. Blah 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 blah. You're a wizard, Harry. But that's not. But Harry wasn't going to school when he got his letter. Harry got his letter during the summertime.
When he was trapped in the closet.
Okay, so this author doesn't know canon of either series?
I was going to say, and the reason Hogwarts did that is because in perhaps the only time Hogwarts ever acted like a real school, they realized that, you know, maybe students that weren't magically inclined would need a summer to figure out where to buy all the bullshit.
Anyway, blah blah blah, magic ain't real. I'm not sure. I've learned a lot of stuff, not to scoff at it. Yeah, still, a school devoted to teaching magic.
No, hold on a
weird.
minute. Harry Potter is currently Ron the student.
Yep.
The odds of him having not seen what happens to Rhonda when exposed to water are pretty low.
More or less.
Like, he may not believe in, like, swinging the wand to do magic nonsense, but, like, he should know that, like, magic is a thing.
Yep, anyway, I think we should ignore this school that teaches magic. Yep, we should totally ignore this school that teaches magic. Because that'll prevent me from teaching you how to punch things hard. Fair enough, let's do this. Huh?
Sneaky, go to the website at the end.
No.
Oh wait, no, that's an email.
Yeah.
Why the fuck has this person linked an email here?
Because they're dumb.
And who the fuck makes an email on net zero?
And because they're dumb.
That's the kind of shit I expect from you.
Fuck you.
I just have an email on net zero.
I would never have an email on net zero. Let's see, a father's love. Delete. Daddy. Alright. Percy Jackson and the Olympians. A father's love.
Wait, isn't this Mike Kyoka Suigatsu? Oh yeah, that's the one.
Yep, Kyoka
It's
Suigatsu.
very popular and it's very not well written.
Oh, I know.
It's not horrible, but it's nothing great either. So yeah.
Okay. Covered fix. Okay. Being a single father with 2 little girls is hard enough, but when there are monsters trying to kill them every day, it's even worse. Well, he loves them more than he loves himself, so he would just have to hope for the best and pray to the mothers of his children. Because Naruto stuck his dick in some goddesses.
Oh boy.
Annabelle and Lacey. Really? Really? You're gonna claim Naruto and okay. Alright. Sure.
I am displeased.
It's alright, it's alright.
Oh, we
See,
lost
this much I can believe in. Like, okay, sure. Naruto did the fucking instead of those 2 other dudes.
Anyway.
That's okay, you can set up a plot like that. It's what happens later that makes, like, it's not an offensive story by any means, but you'll see.
Blah blah blah. He never felt such power, semicolon. It was overwhelming and beyond his wildest imagination. His body felt as if it had been turned to stone, semicolon. He couldn't move a muscle as the calamity towered over him, its shadow covering most of the mountain range. It wasn't moving, but every subtle twitch of its body sent quakes along the ground and shook the foundations around him. Its mouth was closed, but a low rumble came out as a growl. As its growl? What? Then there was its eye, its one lone eye. It was a red as blood with strange black rings and oh. It's the fucking Juby.
Okay.
Oh boy. Alright, tell you what. I'm gonna take a deep breath, go to the bathroom, and make sure that I don't scream while my mic is on top. So.
You do that. Drink, you're on your way home. 500 miles you have roamed.
Are you okay?
I will be.
What will it take?
Yeah, probably the end of this bottle.
Alright. I'm probably gonna fuck off for a smoke soon, no?
Everyone else had perished, crushed by the beast's overwhelming power. Hold on, let me get the edgelord banner up. Pools of blood covered the ground, forming into rivers.
Warning, edgelord detected. You can put that up for every Kyokatsu, Getsu, Zangetsu, whatever the fuck Etsu.
Yeah.
Ever. Every single one of them.
Good. Forming into rivers, the foundations of the earth shook. Hundreds upon thousands of corpses lay still or burning on the dirt.
I'm back.
With his sensory abilities, he could still feel the lingering chakra of some of his most precious people. Semicolon. He could feel their life fade as their deaths sunk into his consciousness. He was the only one left. Everyone had perished. Semicolon. He had failed to save any of them. I am sorry. The ground shook heavily as he was nearly knocked to the ground as the monster took its first step. Its 10 towering tails were swaying from side to side, threatening to flatten any person or mountain within its reach. Its mouth slowly parted, revealing jagged and razor-sharp teeth covered in slimy saliva. It looked hungry, not for food, but for death and destruction. It only wanted one thing, to destroy every living thing in the world and start anew. He stared up at the beast with his azure blue eyes connected to its lone, powerful orb, and wondered, is this really the end? All this time, I had thought I could become powerful enough to save everyone, even if I could defeat the Jubi now. What's the point? So I can be king of ashes? Narrated semicolons, I'm dying.
Did you turn the banner on?
I did.
Good.
Suddenly, a deafening, earth-shaking roar of devastation blasted from the beast's gaping mouth, sending gales of neck-breaking winds towards the corpse-covered land. It shredded the ground and tore away at the remaining earth. Then, as it breathed back in, the thousands of small red and blue orbs of chakra gathered around its mouth, slowly forming a gargantuan orb almost as big as its body. It was almost pitch black in color and suffocating. Why should I fight on? There's no point anymore. A shockwave that shade off the top of the surrounding mountains pulsed from the monster as it fired its attack directly at the lone survivor. The ground was split open by the sheer power of the speed it was traveling, and soon towered over the man. Maybe I should just die. A blinding light covered the entire mountain range, and all was silent. Yes, indeed. Crawling in my skin, indeed. A pair of azure blue eyes snapped open, and the man burst from his bed. His breathing was quick, as if he was close to hyperventilating, and a cold sweat covered his bare torso. His entire body was shaking, and he could actually feel the adrenaline slowly leaving his system, rendering him tired and weak. What the hell was that? He slowly calmed from his nightmares and combed his fingers through his blonde hair, make it even more spiky than usual. He felt his scalp was moist from sweat, making him shake his head and sigh. He had never experienced such a vivid and horrific dream. In all honesty, he was surprised his brain could even conjure up such an image. Putting on his glasses before looking over at his clock, he saw it was still early, only 5 a.m., making him sigh again. He was wide awake, and despite his weak and tired form, he doubted he would be able to fall asleep again so soon. He simply pushed his pillow upright and leaned back against the headboard of his large bed, letting silence and peaceful darkness relax him. As usual, his gray curtains were parted and the moonlight seeped in at 5 a.m., casting a serene white light in his bedroom. Yeah, you don't know how your timetables work, do you, author? Seeing the familiar placing made him relax more, and he calmly closed his eyes to rest. That's it, no more crazy hero movies before bed with the girls. Covert Coding is now hosting now. Oh, Covert, you should fucking come over and watch me, not just host me.
He doesn't love you enough to tolerate this stream, and I don't want him.
Yeah.
Covert. It sounds like his stream's really interesting.
His stream's only interesting because I'm there.
You speak once every 10 minutes.
Sometimes I get active. Usually I just, don't because it's not my
Yeah, but
stream.
you need like a topic to go off on, like a tangent.
Yeah, I do.
He's not very good at handling those two, is he?
No,
See, Sneaky isn't useful unless he has something to rant about.
Indeed.
Yeah, so just keep saying the word Trump every 5 minutes and he'll keep going. And he's, I'm going for a smoke weirdly.
I am an amplifier. It is all I am. It is as simple.
No, you're not. You're a shithead.
Yeah, fuck you, mate. In his memory...
There's the Jersey we all know and love.
After a few more moments, he decided to just start his day. No longer with shaky feet. He stepped out onto the cold and cozy hardwood flooring and headed towards the master bedroom. Wait, so he isn't in the master bedroom? Oh, master bathroom.
Wait, the master bath is the master bath not attached to the master bed?
Apparently not.
That's weird.
He jumped into the shower and turned the water to higher heat than usual. He could feel his exhaustion leave him as his skin tingled and eyes clear. Actually, the best way to wake up is a cold shower. Because, boy, you are not going to be relaxing in that. He spent much more time standing under shower than usual, trying to rid himself of worst nightmare of life, or what could be remembered of his life. After a few more, in his memory, he had only lived 12 years. And he was in his late 20s, but he couldn't recall anything before his 16th birthday. His earliest memories were of him waking up in a local hospital and the doctor informing him of his car accident. Apparently, he had been on a head-on collision with another car and had broken nearly every bone in his body. The doctors were genuinely shocked he managed to wake from such devastating injuries. It was nothing short of a miracle. Okay, if he broke nearly every bone in his body, the doctors wouldn't just be shocked. It would be a medical miracle. Because you're also now implying that he healed from every bone in his body breaking, which would be a full body cast for an extremely long period of time.
Don't forget the fact that his spine would be messed up.
Yeah.
His entire body would be atrophied to hell and back. Oh, and my personal favorite, a hideous amount of internal injuries.
And on top of that, you also have to keep in mind the amount of medical costs that would be involved in such things, and the fact that he has no money. Because,
Well, no. To be fair, the hospital is required, at least in the United States, hospitals are, if you don't have insurance, hospitals are required to treat you to the point where you will survive going out the door.
Yes.
Even if you don't have insurance. Like, they're required to get you back on your feet.
But the costs involved in that would be astronomical, and he doesn't have insurance, and he doesn't have money. So, you know, he shouldn't be living in a nice, enjoyable house. Now, if they were like, you know, Naruto woke up from his nightmare, it's just another day on the street, I'd be like, oh, okay. But no, it's like Naruto woke up in his comfortably large house with a master bathroom and bedroom.
Anyway, I'm gonna go get dinner because it's hot dogs.
Yeah. You guys all abandoned me. It's okay. I'll just be here. Anyway, lads, let's keep going. Blah, 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 blah. Author doesn't know biology. Blah, blah, blah. It couldn't speak. It took him a long time to finish his recuperation, but he could survive on his own 18 months later. Somewhat believable, but not really. I mean, you would have to... That's really stretching it. I'm breaking every bone in your body. I mean, yeah, you'd be doing like practically years of freaking training at that point. He started to regain some of his knowledge, but no substantial memories. All he knew was that his name was Namikaze Naruto because of the wallet they found on him. Okay. Blah blah blah, God interference, I guess, or something like that. And he was a citizen of New York City, United States of America. Okay, the other thing is that, there are lots of different variations of amnesia. Hollywood likes to portray the amnesia where they've just forgotten literally everything and they don't know anything anymore. The most common form of amnesia, if I'm remembering my biology 101 and psychology 101 lessons correctly, is a form of amnesia where you forget people's faces and places. So, sort of like, you know what a pencil is, you know how to drive a car, but you don't know who taught you how to drive the car, you don't know why you would need a pencil, you might know where the school building is, and you might know it's important, but you don't know why you would be going to school, or when you would be going to the school. All you would know is that it's an important place to go, or something like that. You know, it's a certain amnesia of the way the brain stores certain information and blah blah blah. Yeah, point being, Hollywood portrays a completely different form of amnesia. That's the point. And the author is, however, showing that form of amnesia at the moment. With the whole thing of saying, oh, they can barely talk, and they don't know anything about anywhere. Which is understandable, given the condition of that he broke every bone in his body, but it is something you do tend to want to look out for, as otherwise you end up just looking like a moron to anyone with even a scrap of education. Kilm would know all about that.
About what?
Looking like a moron.
Oh yeah, that's like my life in a nutshell.
He had a driver's license, a social security number, a gym membership, but other than that, he had nothing. No family or girlfriends. He was alone. Well, for the first year anyway. Man, today is gonna be exhausting. Wait, so what? He adopted the girls? Okay. Jumped out of the shower and dried him off. His hair is growing long. He saw something weird on his... For a split second, his eyes morphed into... into the... Sharingan... Renegon.
Sharon Renegongan.
Sharon Reneganigan.
Shamalama Ding Dong.
Yeah. Shaking his head, Naruto chuckled to himself as he squirted some toothpaste on his toothbrush. I am going crazy. Blah blah blah, dressing himself in his usual clothes, which is black dress shirts, leaving the buttons open because he's a sexy man. Mahogany hardwood halls. Jesus Christ, Naruto's fucking loaded. Blah blah blah. His little princess sleeping. Blah blah blah. It's time to wake up, sweetie. Come on, Lacey. No, no. Come on, get ready for school. Can you carry me? Sure, you little minx. The little girl, even at 5 years, still fit perfectly in his arms, cradling her close to his chest. Naruto rested Lacey's head. Blah blah blah. Annabeth promised to brunch my hair. I know, I'm right here. Good morning, Dad. Morning, Annie. Get your sister ready. I'll make pancakes. Using a semicolon in dialogue seriously. Please, sir, remove yourself. Yay! Exclaimed Lacey. With vanilla syrup? Why the fuck would you make vanilla syrup in pancakes? What the fuck? Percent though. I'd try it. I mean, I wouldn't not eat it. I just find it mildly insulting that it exists. Dad, you need to sign the permission slip. Wait. Okay, this is Annabeth talking. When you have more than one person speaking in a multiple pair dialogue area, you need to make sure to indicate who is speaking. Now, typically, you can sometimes get away with specific speech formats being used to distinguish characters from speaking to one another. However, it is still good practice to make sure to remind your readers, even if minimally, which character is speaking. Naruto furrowed his brows as he ran his hand through the hair again, something he would do when he would feel stress. That's awkward work. He hated leaving his daughter to go around the city on a field trip, but Annabeth had him wrapped around her little finger. As much as he wanted to deny it, he was a little happy. What Dad didn't want to be bossed around by his little princess. We're starting to get in some fucking kink stuff here. Fucking be gone, kink.
Ah, Sneaky, trying to deal with human emotion.
Straight, son. Oh, hey, we got a review. You should make an omake about swimming lessons. What?
You should make an omake about suicide.
I should make an omake about swimming lessons. That does not...
Shamaki is a maki.
Why? For who?
For yourself.
Yeah, yes. Naruto teaches me how to swim, indeed. Best omake.
Can Naruto even swim? I'm not even sure about that.
I mean, I would assume if you live on an island, you learn how to swim. Blah blah blah, they made pancakes, blah blah blah. He would never forget the eyes of his first love in his college days. Yup, he totally went back to college. Wait. After his wait.
See, that bit I can understand. Him going back to college once he actually comes to this planet, because fucking hell, I don't think he's gonna be working at McDonald's.
I'm really confused because they're saying Naruto was just out of his recuperation earlier on. They're like, oh, he just got out of his recuperation 18 months later. But now they're also saying that he went to full 4 years of college. And it's just like, wait, wait, what?
There might be a time skip somewhere in the middle.
There was no time skip.
You never know.
Yeah, apparently. Blah blah blah. He would never forget the blah blah blah. Recuperation past self had already started with a BAD at the NYCU. Blah blah blah. That's where he met Athena, who was a professor there. When one would hear such a name, they would think of the ancient goddess of Greece, not a living goddess of Western civilization. It was real. The Athena was actually a goddess. He had a hard time believing it. Blah 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 blah. Athena was capable of having kids when she could connect to people on a mental level. I'm sure. Warfare tactics. The blonde had no idea why he had so much knowledge about war and how to win them, but apparently it was enough to impress Athena, so she decided to fuck him.
Well, duh.
She gave me one of my princesses. Annabeth was from Naruto's life. From the moment Hermes, the messenger of the gods, and Athena dropped the little bundle in his arms 9 years ago. Wait, so this is a 10-year time skip? What the fuck? Or more, maybe. And it smells great, Dad. And we finished with Lacey already. Youngest princess. It surprised him. Blah, blah, blah. Lacey loved to be pretty and cute. Blah, blah. No books. Blah, blah, blah. No books at table. Be a good girl. Take your sister out for ramen. In New York? Have you ever been to New York City?
Hey there, Delilah. What's it like in New York City? I'm 1,000 miles away.
Fair enough. Well played. Daddy, Daddy! The ghost of Sigmund Freud goes stronger. I'm hungry. Is breakfast ready? Using all caps to exemplify how loud she's shouting instead of just using a simple exclamation mark. Yes, get your own plate. Lacey is also very much like her mother. Blah, blah, blah. Naruto didn't know what he did to be so lucky. He had two goddesses in his life. The first of his relationship was with Athena, which was purely intellectual. He had never even kissed her. But the second was very different. Naruto, Sweet on America, a candy store he opened up after school. Oh, candy store, eh? Candy store, eh?
I've been fortified with low-quality food. I'm prepared to face this horror again.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Kilm? Atin kind of shouted over you.
Wasn't there this rap song about candy shop and sucking cock?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
What, have I come back?
Yeah, no, I by Aqua, Candyman?
There was something like, I think it was 50 Cent.
Oh, okay, that too, probably. Blah, 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 he owned a store in New York City, blah, 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 beautiful woman walked in, then she fucked his brains out, blah, 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 it was Aphrodite, blah, 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 Lacey was born, blah, blah,
Okay,
blah.
so, I gotta ask, like, what version of Aphrodite are they rolling with here? Because, like, in the Percy Jackson books, she was never a whore. Like, she was
But you see, Naruto impressed her very much with his extensive abilities at candy making.
And the part where she normally would have a relationship with them first?
We don't need that here. We need immediate gratification.
Right.
Good elementary school. The one place Naruto loathed. It wasn't a bad school. No, you're right. It wasn't a bad school. It was a good one.
I think that's canonic. I think that's from canon, but I'm not sure.
Naruto hated leaving his daughters there. Blah, blah, blah. He would homeschool them if he could. He always remembered the gods then. It would be the moment when Hermes, blah, blah, blah. His children would always be in danger. Blah, blah, blah. Did you bring your lunch? Blah, 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 blah. Father stuff. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's not too bad, father stuff. It's just... the setup was cringy. The setup was dumb. the explanation and how they narrated time passing was poorly executed and confusing. I don't exactly have a problem with these two growing up with each other, but I sort of do have the problem with the characterization of both Athena and Aphrodite.
Have you read the Percy Jackson books?
I have.
Yes, I actually I read all of them up to the Roman.
I read all the way up to the Tartarus Gate part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually just as far as I read.
Yeah.
Were there books after that though?
Anyway, blah 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 blah. You'll always be my cute princess. Blah 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 princess. Blah blah blah. More dad stuff. More dad stuff. Mr. Namikaze. Good morning, Mr. Turner.
Honestly, I find the dad stuff very easy to believe because
Miss Turner.
you know the whole thing about Naruto one.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong. Like I said, he does actually a surprisingly good job writing a
Yeah, I was gonna say,
family relationship.
The father-daughter interaction seems like reasonable.
The reason why I'm going blah 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 and skipping over it is because I don't have much to say there. I mean, it's not bad. It's not cringy. And like I said though, the setup is dumb as hell.
Cringy though, Sneaky.
Yeah, I said the
There's
beginning was
stories
cringy.
surprisingly like this, written by Yagami Nugen.
Yeah, it was the beginning was surprisingly cringy comparatively to everything else we've read so far.
Trust me, it gets cringier.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
It has its strong points, but mostly everything else is.
Hey, can you talk with me? Blah blah blah. Yep, sure I can. Blah blah blah. Work boxes. Okay, can you lift them for me? All right, put them in here. Where did you say the boxes were? The door closed. Is everything okay? You smell real nice today. Thank you. Katie walked up to Naruto and kissed him. Oh man, her lips are so good against his face. Blah 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 blah.
Is this his daughter?
No, Katie is the teacher of his daughters.
Oh, Katie. Okay.
Blah blah blah. French kissing. Blah blah blah. He's fondling her breasts. Blah blah blah. He could feel her nails digging into his back, and her teeth were starting to bite into his tongue. This is now the worst kiss he's ever experienced. Miss Turner, cried Naruto. What the hell is wrong with you? She was laughing. It would sound evil. One of her legs started to shake. It's a wood peg. Then she had fangs like a vampire. What the hell are you? I'm a Villy, an Imposai. Oh, what?
Pussy.
Villy moaned as she smirked, revealing her black teeth and fangs. You smell so good today. I thought it was only your daughters who I wanted to feed on, but I was wrong. You smell so much better. You stole away from my daughters. Ha 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 ha. Villy clutched her stomach as she laughed crazily. You will be the main course today. Then Lacey will make a dessert. Yeah, the second we moved away from the family scenario, it became cringy again. Naruto gripped his fists until his knuckles were white, glaring at the monster. Die! Blah blah blah. She launched herself at him. Quickly reacting, he dumped the shelves on her. Blah blah blah. The force of the kick staggered her back. I'm gonna kill you, you monster. If there was one thing Naruto knew he excelled at, it was fighting. Of course. See, now, this is what I always really hated about people who don't know anything about amnesia. Is they're like, oh, he totally forgot everything. He forgot how to speak English. He forgot how to do everything ever and forgot everything. He has no memories of anything. But he was still really good at X thing, even though he forgot everything.
I mean, Sneaky, actually, they're kind of right there, though.
No, not
You know,
with
like
that
you
type
don't
of
forget how
amnesia.
to drive / swim / all
Yeah,
that
but
other stuff.
not with that type of amnesia. No, not with the amnesia they described. No, like I said before earlier, when you went out to get a smoke, there's multiple kinds of amnesia. There's the kind of amnesia where you forget everything about faces and people and places, but you remember like how to drive a car and what a pencil is and why going to school is important, but you don't know when you're supposed to go to the school, which school you're supposed to go to, and etc.
But
etc.
didn't he know like most things? Like,
No,
like,
no, the author described Naruto as having no memory of the country he was in, where he lived, what language he was speaking, who he was, who his family was, any relationships, any education he had. He didn't even know he was in college. Like, the author was like, oh yeah, he's completely forgotten literally everything.
But the thing was, he could still see. The thing is sneaky, but then you're jumping on the exact opposite spectrum. If that was the case, he would have forgotten how to speak.
He did.
I think he just forgot what language he was speaking, not to how to speak.
That's not what the author said.
I don't think that's what he meant. But
Well,
sure.
the author said Naruto couldn't speak for like 18 months or some shit like that.
I think he couldn't speak the language was what he meant.
Well, the author needs to clarify then, because otherwise I'm going to interpret it as written.
I'm pretty sure you're the only one who interpreted that way, but sure.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do. Because someone's got a nitpick here if you guys are not gonna fucking contribute.
I mean, come on, I'm
just staying out of it currently because I don't like. Here's the thing.
It's
Technically,
a Jackson story. It's
Sneaky
already
is correct.
a blight on history and fanfiction. So let it go.
Anyway, blah blah blah, fight scene. Blah blah blah, denting the wall by slamming her face into it. Blah blah blah, stomped on Naruto's foot and used her hind leg to kick him away.
Sneaky, come to think of it, we've actually not run into many fics with the song recommendations anymore.
That is true. I'm gonna give
you. Yeah,
a
I was
slow
hoping
death.
we'd gotten past that.
Yeah, we did so far, at least.
Huh.
I'm gonna give you a slow death. Blah blah blah. Fire extinguisher. Blah blah blah. That's impossible. No human should be so strong. And stomped on the monster's chest. Blah blah blah. Just die already. Crushing the monster's face with the fire extinguisher. He did it again and again. He let his strength guide him as he closed his eyes.
Boy, I wonder how the mist is concealing this one.
Suddenly, Naruto felt his weapon hit the ground instead of the monster's head. He opened his eyes to see if it had escaped, but sighed in relief when he saw a pile of gold dust, just like the hellhounds he had killed. He sighed in exhaustion and sat down on the ground, dropping the dented fire extinguisher. I knew today would be a bad day. No, you didn't. At no point in time, author, did you have Naruto foreshadow that today would be a bad day. So, because author, you have described the entire day from the second he woke up, you cannot then go say that Naruto, whose perspective we are currently reading from, knew it would be a bad day if you had not at a single point in time had Naruto think or talk about how it's probably going to be a bad day.
Isn't he using more of an omnipotent type of perspective instead of Naruto's perspective?
No, he's actually doing it from Naruto's perspective because he's showing Naruto's inner monologue and thoughts.
I mean, like, what's the word for it? Holy shit, actually, you are right.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, he's broken the thing like twice or thrice, but for the most part, he has stuck to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, mate, I might be fucking trash when it comes to writing, but I at least know my shit when it comes to reading.
What an absolute unit.
Sweet on America was Naruto's pride and joy. He had opened it a year after his graduation with his life savings that he mystically had for some reason.
I would just say the life savings that he shouldn't have, because even if he did, he wouldn't remember how to access them.
Well, see, again, this is my main problem with this, right? I mean, the author's probably going to pull some bullshit of, oh, the gods put him here and gave him all this money and set up his IDs and life history using magic and shit, but it's just like,
You mean stuff they've
why?
literally never done for anyone?
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, but why? And, oh, I'm
Crying out
sure.
loud, Percy Jackson literally saved the world, and they gave him the middle finger.
But, you know, as I was saying, like, I can understand, like, one of the gods, you know, no, actually I can't. Not at all, actually. No, not a single one of them.
Literally none of them.
No.
They don't even do that for their kids.
Yeah. Anyway, so the author's probably gonna try and make this a plot point, I'm sure, down along the story of like he finds out the gods had, you know, helped him out, and he wants to know why, and he wants to uncover his history, and then the final big boss is gonna be the Juby. But now that he has found what he is fighting for, he shall rise up, and he will refuse to die this time, and he will destroy the Juby and save the people. I mean, that's just what I'm assuming is going to be the plot. Did you read this story at all, Kelm, or did you just get past it?
I read the first chapter, the second chapter, and then I
Okay.
stopped because I was sleepy.
Yeah.
I read this like a couple. No, actually, like I read this a couple months back, so never got through the whole thing.
He opened it a year after blah blah blah. It was located inside Grand Central. Really? With his life
Oh,
savings.
really? He just afforded a place in Grand Central
Business
with
wasn't
his
improving.
life savings.
Many people found it a
Well, how
good
much
place
was
to
his
get some
brand?
sweets. His shop would be a very convenient place for them after getting off subway. It varied from young adults working nearby or children with their parents, but they all left the store with a smile on their faces. That was what really made Naruto love his job. Candy and sweets are universal, just as Aphrodite told him. See, my other problem with this is supposedly Naruto makes his own sweets to sell here or something. Supposedly, from what I'm vaguely recollecting from the Aphrodite sex scene. But, like, making your own sweets in Grand Central? I'm not buying that.
Like, look. Okay, so he has a store in Grand Central. Now, I'm going to compare it to the biggest train station in Chicago. Unless he bought a corner store, which would be so hilariously out of a single individual's price range,
Yeah.
he would not have room for that. He would not have room for a confectionery in the back of that store.
Wait till the point where he's fucking Aphrodite in there.
Dude, that is just not. Yeah, that is not. That is not profit turning.
Oh wait, was that the other fic? I'm not sure.
Oh boy. Anyway, blah blah blah. Good morning, Mr. Namikaze. Good morning, Sally. Totally fine. Sally Jackson. Blah blah blah. Oh.
I could hear the pain in that. Oh.
Of course, Sally Jackson works for Naruto.
I mean, I believe.
Did you drop off Percy this morning? Oh, yep, he's gonna be joining Annabeth on the field trip.
And now I'm angry.
I am so
Don't worry,
glad
he
Percy and
did not
Annabeth have been friends for so long. So let me get
As
this
far
straight.
as I know, he might later in the fucking series.
So let
I
me
can
get this
never
straight.
forget.
Right. Let me get this straight. So, Naruto kills a teacher proceeds to be like, oh, okay, let's see, I just killed my daughter's teacher, and I've been written as super protective of them. Okay. Alright. And
Yeah.
I should go back to work now and leave my daughters alone at this museum that I just killed a teacher at. Okay.
Okay, that's quite like normal for like the Percy Jackson thing. There's so many times he's done something like that and just left.
Look, yes, that is true. However, when the author writes the character as super protective, as we are doing in our story, there needs to be reactions to events. Not just, alright, I have completed my plot circumstances for being here. Let me march away, so I can let other plot happen to my daughters that I'm super protective about, and literally killed someone for. I'm sure this narratively makes sense. And intensifies. Anyway. Writer's corner. I see, you guys are talking about the Oklahoma City. Okay. Alright, that is the end of the chapter! Yeah!
The end of the street, thank God!
We're done?
Yeah, more or less. We're at 1 hour and 56 minutes, so we're basically done. So, to fill up the last 4 minutes, let us talk about a fandom. Let's see, let's get some dice roll here. And it's Harry Potter.
Oh. Well, you two enjoy talking about that. The sort of fandom I contribute to.
Overblown, overhyped, and way too many gay stories.
Yeah, more or less. So
Like the what?
I actually.
To be fair, I could level the exact same criticisms in Kingdom Hearts.
And not
Only I have to add confusing ass plot. And yes, I have played all the games. Yes, I own all the games.
Now,
thank you.
I will be disgruntled over. So, someone had linked me a 56-page PDF booklet explaining how magic works in Harry Potter, and I was like, oh, that's fairly impressive. And the guy throughout the entire thing is citing, oh, as we can see from this scene and this scene, this does it like this, and this scene says this does this, and it's like, okay, so if you're going to be using evidence from the story as it goes, as evidence as to why X thing works like that, okay, sure, fine. Kudos to you, sir, for doing that much. But in their opening statement, they're like, J.K. Rowling does an amazing job at describing magic by not describing it. Because by describing...
No, Sneaky, hold on a minute. I need to interject here. That person can go shut their fucking mouth. You want someone who does a great job with magic systems? Brandon goddamn Sanders. He explains his magic systems and he sticks to it.
See, it's interesting that you mention Brandon Sanderson, because so do they.
Oh, good. Let's hear this.
Alright, let me just, blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Secondly, J.K. Rowling does a very different kind of world building to an author like Brandon Sanderson, who is famous for his first law of magic, which is an author's ability to solve conflict with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands the magic. Now, I like Brandon Sanderson books. There's no doubt he is inventive and well thought out magic systems. However, a result of this approach to magic is that it ends up feeling like something out of a tabletop RPG.
I think the balance, if you would say so, would be Hunter x Hunter and Nen.
I haven't seen either of those, so I can't comment.
And
on
my
that.
favorite part about this whole thing is he's like, you know, it's stupid to explain your magic system to the audience. That makes it feel more like a game with well-defined, well-placed systems of magic that allow the readers to not break their suspension of disbelief and limit the author in terms of hand-wavium to force actual narrative development of the characters and world.
Like, that's one of the things that's important about session. One of the things that he says he really enjoys about having a hard system is that it forces him to be creative with the problem solving.
Yep.
It
Like,
has to be.
oh, hey, this guy can pull metal to him. That's it. That's what he can do with magic. He can pull metal to him. But he still obeys the laws of physics. So, oh, hey, I pulled the coin. The coin came to me. I pulled the lamppost. Well, I went to the goddamn lamppost.
Yeah. The problem with this system is that the real world is super complex, and our attempts to describe and explain it are messy. Our scientific theories are incomplete or contradictory. For example, the famous tension between quantum field theory and general relativity. Okay, well, gonna stop you there, buddy? Sometimes they can contradict and still be both correct, because anything dealing with quantum literally deals with not observing the results or the function. Quantum is basically literally magic.
Yep.
And fail to
Magic,
answer
very
more
good.
fundamental philosophical questions about why. I mean, not really. A structured... Like, if you're gonna go with because they brought tabletop RPG into this, I'm gonna get disgruntled because D&D does an exceptionally good explanation as to why all the spells do what they do. If you, like, dig into the deep lore of it and, like, you know.
I'll also
Like,
go
okay,
there,
so
and I'll tell
Stevie-
you, Sanderson does an extraordinarily good job of explaining why everything does what it does. Like Sneaky, do you know what one of his magic powers is? People can selectively ignore friction on their body. He's like, that's a magic power. Because A, it's awesome and lets you do great things with the rule of cool, and B, it's super easy to explain it to someone. Oh, how are they running at like 80 miles an hour? Well, they're not running. They're sliding, and they're ignoring friction. The end.
Yeah.
I mean,
Perhaps the
I'm
result
always
of
bringing
this...
this point back about like the Hunter x Hunter thing.
Yeah.
It took 2 episodes for Togashi to explain the system
Right.
of Nen to the to everybody, to his readers, side watchers, and that was all it took. After that, every single thing, like, there have been some points in the in the anime where, you know, you like some character does something and he doesn't even have to explain how he did something, because you know the basics of the power and you can just piece it together.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh, why is this person suddenly so strong? Oh, he used a restriction and pledge system. He will only be able to use this power against 6 people in the bloody world, which means his power grows exponentially for each person he can't use it against, aka making him very strong. But if he breaks it, he dies.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, he explains these systems in 2 full episodes, like an hour worth of explanation. It's a bit of a slog to go through, but fuck, once he does that, everything makes sense, and he uses it to like the maximum extent he can.
I love how he also then proceeds to get Philosophy 101 on us. Perhaps as a result of this, we feel complexity means realism. Actually, I personally am the opposite.
Yeah.
Simplicity means realism. Because sometimes the simplest explanation is the realistic explanation.
It's seriously, like, why would you go for like a 5-page explanation or something when you can just go like, yeah, it happens because of this?
Brandon Sanderson's magic systems, for all their functionality and storytelling, are just too simple. You should not be able to summarize how the world works in a paragraph.
You should be.
Actually, you
Yes,
certainly
you
can.
should, because it's easy for your readers to understand.
Well, not only that,
Things
watch,
happen.
watch, I shall summarize the reality of the world in a paragraph. Due to the large mass of the world, it exerts a pressure known as gravity that pulls other mass down towards the center of an object. When an object gets sufficiently large enough that it can affect other things, it is known as having a gravity well, which distorts both space and time as the object gets progressively larger. This allows for things such as humans to stay on a planet that is rotating at many millions of miles per hour around an even larger star going millions of miles per hour.
Are you insinuating that the world isn't flat?
Yes. And wow, look at that. I just summarized gravity in a paragraph. Get fucked, author.
No, and that's one more thing. Like, okay, so the Harry Potter fandom and pretense, they go hand in hand.
Oh, pretentiousness and Harry Potter go hand in hand, certainly.
It's a very big thing. Okay, it's like, okay, so considering, I'm going to be very honest, Harry Potter is not a complex plot by any stretch of imagination.
Also,
And for Naruto.
I love people.
As you found out in the morning with your poetry.
Yeah. I love.
And the thing is,
yeah.
any measure of complexity that has been brought into this is because of people looking and digging.
Yeah,
and
trying to be
more.
deep about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, as I was saying, I love the people that try to be like, oh, biology is so complex. Actually, it's really not. Over the course of 1 billion years, literally trillions of iterations of small, tiny variations of the exact same thing were tried, till eventually the one that was best at the job it needed to do at the time it needed to do it was selected.
Yep.
And that was
Yet
just done.
we still have our useless ass appendix. Jokes aside, keep going.
Yeah, and that was done, billions upon billions of times to every single species in existence. It's not fucking complex. You know how eyes work? It started off as a fucking group of cells that reacted to light. And slowly, over time, species got more complex eyeballs. Not because they needed more complex eyeballs, but because it made the species' life easier to both find mates to have more kids with, find food, and avoid predators the more reactive to light they were. So the eyes became dips, so they could better catch the light. And then slowly, they had folds over it, so the species could, for whatever reason at the time, they needed that. And then it got better and better and better, and over time, it grew more complex. It's the foundation with the house on it. You wouldn't say a house is complex. It's a simple thing. It's a cement foundation with a wooden frame, and eventually over time, you add things like wiring to it. You add plumbing to it. You add insulation to it. Then you put the walls up. Then you put the windows in.
It's simply a conglomeration of many, many systems. It's just that simple.
It's a simple thing in the end. Sure, if you knew nothing about a house at all whatsoever, you might look at it and go, wow, this is so complex. How do
Kind
people
of like
think
the Harry
this?
Potter magic system where nothing is explained.
Yeah.
It's like, gee, Sanderson's stuff seems simple because he makes it easy to understand and explains everything.
Turns
Now, there's
out,
a very big
shit's
issue
real
with
simple.
what you're going for. And I'm going to be pointing it out.
Go ahead.
It's, the fact that she, what's her name again?
J.K. Rowling?
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, J.K. Rowling, I was going to call her McGonagall for some reason, had no fucking idea about what she wanted to do with magic. Her entire idea for the first few books was, oh yes, magic exists because handwave. And then she slowly tried to, give it some sort of semblance, and even at the end of 7 books, you don't really understand why you would rather just not have a gun. Oh, Avada Kedavra, it's an amazing spell that you can use to kill someone. What else can you use? A gun! She has never been able to explain why humans couldn't stop wizards. Sure, they can do magical stuff, but does magical stuff really save you from a sniper bullet from really far away?
As we've seen with a much better series involving magic, namely the Dresden Files, no, it doesn't.
Exactly, and these are loopholes that she's never been able to fix because she never thought that far. Instead, she thought about, things to retcon. In every single fucking book, you see something change. And now, even when she's done with the fucking writing, she still does retcons. And then now it's about gender identity and bullshit.
Yeah. So to continue the J.K. Rowling wank fest that this opening section is, any magic that you attempt to explain will demagify it.
It doesn't!
If you want the world to feel real, the reader should be confused by the magic, just as we don't know how the natural world works.
Sneaky. So this entire thing, it does work. But only in cases where there isn't a fucking institute where people learn how to do magic.
Yeah, no.
Where there isn't an infrastructure built where people can learn. If it's more like, learning and this is a new thing and people are finally...
Well, no, see, like, the main argument against any sort of, oh, but magic is wild and unpredictable is you have spell names, everyone can cast them, and there is a fucking course taught to children called arithmancy, which is the art of spell creation using math.
Like, I'm gonna say, here's the thing. Based on what you just said, Kim, it would be completely acceptable for the books, for the Sanderson books that involve allomancy, which is you ingest a metal and then you get a magic power from eating that metal. Does that make any sense? No, of course it doesn't. But it is magic.
Yeah, because the thing is,
it would make
well, no,
sense
it actually does make sense.
But that's not what he does. He fully explains how all of it works. It's like, okay,
it's a symbolic relationship, right?
This one what?
It's a symbolic relationship.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so there's iron pushing and steel pulling. Some of them don't make a lot of sense, but it's like, okay, if you ingest pewter, you can use pewter to make yourself stronger.
Yeah.
Why? No one knows. But that's what pewter does. It makes you strong.
Yes, he does.
If you burn tin, your senses are better.
A smart person explaining magic. Like, no, it's not even explaining, it's using magic. He goes like, okay, thing A has effect A, which is directly linked to thing A. What we use to get from thing A to effect A is magic. The process is magic, not the thing itself.
Yeah.
Correct.
And so it continues the JKR Wankfest. We don't know how the world works in real life.
We do.
And I propose that this is the type of world building J.K. Rowling uses. She wants her wizarding world to feel super authentic. And to that, you have to sacrifice Sanderson's first law of explaining magic.
Yeah, by the way, I was going to point out, I was waiting for the author of this idiocy to get there. Sneaky. Sanderson actually wrote laws for magic to help other aspiring authors so that we don't get garbage like J.K. Rowling's.
Oh, I know.
See, J.K. Rowling, I'm going to be honest, Harry Potter is not a book about magic. It's a book about teenage drama.
Yeah, pretty much.
The main villain is a dude with a stick who can do an insta-death spell. It's literally just a fucking policeman with a less effective gun.
Okay, so Sneaky, real quick.
Yeah.
Here are Sanderson's laws of magic. And
by the way, I've seen them
the
before.
First law. Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah, no, I know about them.
Okay, well, then I'm going to read them off for people on the stream who may not be aware of them. And this is directly taking shots at J.K. Rowling's idiocy. Sanderson's first law. This is the thing he considers most important. The thing that if no one else ever sees any of his other ones, they should see this one. An author's ability to solve conflicts with magic is directly proportional to how well readers understand said magic. He explicitly says, the less hand-waving you can do, the better.
And that makes a lot of sense to any normal person. Except Harry Potter fans are not normal people. They are, what's the word for it? The most unimaginative people ever.
The second law, limitations should be less than powers. The limitations of a magic system are more interesting than its capabilities. What it can't do is more interesting than what it can.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so there's this thing we learned in game design a long time back. This guy, one of our teachers told us that it isn't the freedom you get to make a game that makes a good game. It's how you work around constraint.
I'm just saying, that's why so many of the older games that were on the NES and the SNES were so interesting, because they had to find really creative solutions for stuff.
Yep. For example, like this Portal, it's got a simple mechanic, but the thing is, they wanted to do multiple portals. You know that they didn't want to do 2 portals. They wanted to do like 5, 6. They couldn't. And that gave us Portal. Gave us a very well-made, very, what's the word for it? Self-contained fun game. Yeah. And yeah, if they had been given full freedom and like an engine that could take care of every single thing they wanted to put in there, we'd have a half-garbled mess in which you would have more elements on the screen than you could control.
Mm-hmm.
AKA, you'd have the Talos principle.
And finally, last but not least, and I almost feel that this one is a direct shot at J.K. Rowling. Expand on what you already have before you add something new.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, honestly, that can be applied to almost anything when it comes to writing.
Yeah, this is a direct quote. A brilliant magic system.
I've never read this person, but now I want to read this person's
stuff. 1,000 different powers and ability, and is more often a magic system with relatively few powers that the author has considered in depth.
Look, see, that's why Worm was such a compelling story. Because the main character didn't keep gaining new powers. She had one power, control bugs. And the reason why everyone was so invested in her character is because she took control bugs, proceeded to kill invulnerable people, and a god. Because she just levered her simple power.
Sneaky. You'll probably not like this again, but like one other fanfiction author who followed this was Ryugi. What he did was he like, if you look at what he did with his
it's not that I don't like Ryugi. I dislike his story.
What he did right with his character was
I doff my hat to him.
Yeah.
But I do not like his story.
Yeah. The thing he did with his story was, if you look at all his powers that Jean has at the end of the fic, it is literally just stronger, more refined version of the things he had when he began his journey.
And like I said, I doff my hat to him. I do not like his story, though.
Yeah. You recognize that he did it, that what he wrote well, and it was well written. But
not quite. I recognized he got better along the way.
Oh yes, definitely. He started off like, his story starts off like so cringy. So fun, cringy. Yeah, his thing was constant improvement over a daily basis.
Yeah. So the author of this continues to wank off Rowling. Blah blah blah. Rowling drip feeds us explanations, but not because she wants to educate us, but because she wants us to buy into the fact that magic is complex and wizards don't understand it. And blah blah blah, it adds flavor and depth to the world.
But that's directly contradictory.
Blah blah blah.
It is directly contradictory to it being an institute of learning.
Yes.
Without this depth she adds to the world and these pieces of information that she gives to the reader, the magic of Harry Potter would feel characterless and shallow.
Sneaky, who wrote this?
I don't know, some fucker.
Do you know this fucker?
No.
Does it list their name in the PDF?
It probably does.
Whatever, we don't care because we're not in the business of trying to start a harassment.
I would love to have this person on the podcast if you would allow it.
I would love to have them on the podcast, but they wrote this like several years ago, and so I don't know if they're even like active.
Oh, yeah. Then I'm pretty sure this person already got like a large amount of shit.
Anyway,
or no, more like a large amount of praise, because
kidding, right?
Saying good things about J.K. Rowling just makes you god amongst the J.K. Rowling fandom.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting this is a very rabid fandom. It makes the Naruto fandom look tame in comparison.
There is an important difference between alluding to the existence of explanations and providing no explanation at all. J.K. Rowling clearly does the former. If you don't give enough flavor, it just leaves an empty void. So saying J.K. Rowling is bad at world building is unfair. Nonetheless, a side effect of her approach is yes, readers have to work harder to piece together how magic works in her world.
No, that would be true for somebody like, let's say, Nasu, like the guy who wrote Fate and stuff, right? But no, J.K. Rowling is just like, it's just like, oh yeah, she came up with some stuff whenever she did, and she put a little bit of it here, put a little bit there, and that's about it.
It's okay. The author straight up says it is impossible to make arguments based on any authoritative sources without establishing which sources are authoritative. In doing so, I'll be making a following hierarchical approach as to what sources have more authority than others. Several principles have been adopted. Firstly, J.K. Rowling is the only source of canon. Secondly, the official release materials have greater authority than informal comments. Thirdly, it is the written word that has priority over media such as movies. Fourthly, materials embedded within the story have greater authority than commentary. This produces a hierarchy as follows. The 7 original Harry Potter books. The side books, such as Fantastic Beasts, Quidditch, and Tales of Beetle the Bard. Pottermore and J.K. Rowling old website. Fantastic Beasts and where to find the movie script. Harry Potter and Cursed Child. Play script. Merchandise materials. And J.K. Rowling interviews, tweets, and other informal statements. Honestly, I would place Harry Potter and Cursed Child below 7. You know why I would place it below 7? I would place Cursed Child below 7 because Cursed Child was not written by J.K. Rowling. Cursed Child is a fan fiction that was popularized and ended up being picked up by a play company who J.K. Rowling then approved of because Hermione was black and that got her diversity points.
I mean, and she's all about the diversity points, so.
Anyway.
Also, I love this little bit here, and then I'll end it here. The original Harry Potter movies I do not consider canon, as they frequently contradict the source of canon, which is the original 7 books, and they are not written by J.K. Rowling. That is patently false. J.K. Rowling had final say due to the agreement she had with the movie company who was producing her movies. J.K. Rowling had final say on every single aspect of the movie. Who was hired, who played what role, what dialogue lines they said, what was shown in every single scene, J.K. Rowling had to approve of. To the point that J.K. Rowling switched out the race of a character 3 movies in because that character now had dialogue lines. J.K. Rowling had 100% involvement in every single aspect of the Harry Potter movies. And anyone that says otherwise is oblivious and stupid, just like the majority of this fandom who have their heads shoved so far up their asses sometimes with what they choose to accept and believe that it is ridiculous.
I mean, it is the most cancerous fandom for a reason. Bar maybe Supernatural, but yay.
And that is how I'm going to end tonight. So goodbye, everyone. Sorry for the wait. I apologize for the delay. We hope you join us next time at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays. I will always be here. My supporting cast always changes. Atin's usually here, though, so if you liked him, he'll be here normally as well. The archived copy of last week's Friday will be going up within the next 24 hours on our YouTube page, which can be found in the links down below. If you liked us and you want to see what kind of fan fiction we ourselves have written, you can click on the trash can in the panels down below. A link to the Twitch page is included in the YouTube link if that's where you're watching it from. And we will see you next time. Remember, there's always more, and it always gets worse.